You've entered the Houston Running Zone, the ultimate podcast for runners in the Houston area, featuring the everyday runners who inspire us, clubs, gear, races, and runcations. Houston, we've got the runs.
All right, today in the zone, I have another Chevron Houston Marathon ambassador, and sneak peek, I also saw that she does pacing, you name it, known as Casey, the mother runner on Instagram. Casey Timme. Casey, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I've been interviewing a lot of the different ambassadors, and I'm always curious because, yeah, you get some perks as an ambassador. That's cool. You get to have some fun. If your schedule allows, you guys been doing a lot of cool things, but what made you decide? Because it's a lot of work and it's a lot about giving back. What was the reason you applied to become an ambassador?
So if I'm honest, I've been applying to be an ambassador for like the last 8 years.
Okay.
And I finally got, an email saying that I was accepted as an ambassador. And that to me was like, oh my gosh, this is something that I've been wanting to do for so long. I loved it. I loved the marathon. It was my first marathon. It was my most recent. And, I'm an avid marathoner. And so to be able to be a part of this group, it's amazing. I mean, there's so much support. Everybody comes from so many different lifestyles that the people I've met, it's like you're instantly friends. Just the group message that we have, it's so funny because it's like we talk about running and then it's like when girls get in a conversation, it's like 4 different conversations going at once. And so your phone starts going crazy and you're, trying to keep up with everything. But at the same time, you're putting the heart emoji, you're putting the laugh emoji, you're putting the I don't know what you are talking about emoji. So it's really cool because, even as an adult, it's hard to make those friendships. But it's because we all have that in common, like our love for running, our love for exercise. And, we just kind of bring all that in together, form a group.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good point because a lot of times people join running clubs thinking they got to be a runner. And then they realize, okay, this is just a big social outlet with a healthy outcome to it, or at least that's what gets us there sometimes. So How long have you been running?
I've been running for a little over 9 years. I started running about a year after I had my second child. She's 9 now. And so I was out of shape and wanted to make a change. So talked to my husband and I said, let's join a gym. And so we joined the gym and I tried different things, body pump and these group classes. And as a newbie, I was really, really uncomfortable. And I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. So we left and then my husband's like, okay, well, let's just go back tomorrow. And of course, that's what you don't want to hear. Because at that point, I'm like, I'm giving up, throwing in the towel. I don't want to go back tomorrow. And he's like, let's just go back. Let's see what else there is. So I went back and I was watching the girls on the treadmills. I was like, okay, that looks easy enough. Maybe I can run. Actually, I came from my first exposure to running was when I was just a little girl. And it kind of loops around what I'm about to say. But my dad was a marathon runner. And so I remember as a little girl, my mom would drag me and my brothers to different races to watch him run. And I don't mean run, I mean race. Like he was a 2:45 marathoner. His name was Steve. And I just remember being in the crowd thinking, how much longer is this going to take? Looking back now, it's a 2-hour and 45-minute marathon. Like it didn't take that long. But as a child, you're like, this is taking forever to see him for 5 seconds. But unfortunately, he did pass away. And so the racing and the marathoning kind of came to a halt at that point. And so about 20 years later is when I found the treadmill. So like I said, kind of looped back around. And as I was watching these girls run, I'm like, you know what? My dad did that. Maybe there's a little spark in me that I might be able to do that too.
Wow.
So I tried the treadmill. I was able to make it like a quarter of a mile without stopping and heaving and all that. Changed my mind on that. Tried to run outside. Again, made it about 10 houses down before I kept trying. Like I was suffering a lot in the very beginning, but eventually kind of got my groove, started to enjoy it just a little bit, not a lot. Didn't enjoy it a lot, but I kept, but I really tried to. And then I guess from there, it's a lot of struggles along the way, but it started with 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathon. My mom actually ran my first half marathon with me.
Oh,
She
wow.
said, you jump, I'll jump. And so that was huge for me because I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a watch. I didn't have the right shoes. I didn't know anything about running. But, there's always been that feeling of connection with my dad every time I run. Because I'm like, I wonder if he ran on this trail. I know he ran this marathon. And so it brings a little bit more satisfaction, like mentally, to know that, this is something that we could have had, but that we still do have. So it's been almost 30 years since he's passed away. So it's a soft spot for me, but definitely very rewarding.
Well, that's amazing, especially over 30 years ago, a 2:45.
Actually, today's his birthday.
Hey, there we go.
Today's happy birthday. Yeah.
I mean, 2:45 back in the day, technology's come a long way as far as hydration, and don't even get me started about shoes. I mean, he could easily have gotten a 2:20 by now. I mean, that's nuts.
What I would give to go on one run with him. Hopefully I beat him by now because he'd be, 64? Actually, no, he'd probably still be able to beat me. But yeah, his shoes were like the old school Nike, probably just flat and white, or I don't know. I try to look at the shoes. I'm like, what is that? Have you run in that?
Yeah, it's like a glorified Converse, just
exactly, with the high socks and everything.
Wow.
But that's kind of where it started.
Crazy. Yeah, no, that's amazing. So you never, obviously it's hard for you to run at that pace, but you never what did you guys do some walks together, or do you ever do any runs at even just some sprints? You never did a fun run 1K or 1 mile run or anything like that as a kid?
He used to take us to the Jingle Bell Run. So I think that was a 1 mile run in December. And I remember we were all in those big 80s puffy coats. And so we would go do that.
Wait, what year did you do this?
Oh, gosh. 1989, maybe. Did you run the same one?
Yeah. It would have been before 89. But that's crazy. I remember it was sponsored by Whataburger. I remember the orange shirt.
Maybe, and they give you those little Jingle Bell necklaces with the red, with the red lanyard and the one bell that seems to never get lost. And so you get to jingle that bell all year long.
Yeah. It used to start by the old downtown Y. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, he would take us on bike rides. I wasn't really if I were to run, with him, it would be just a little fun event. But we would go on rides with him, 4 to 5 miles. I actually have a lot of his running journals. And so that is another piece, is that I can see what he was feeling, or if he had a bad run, or if he had a great run, kind of look at his times. And at first I was comparing, okay, so when his third marathon, he ran a 3:08. My third marathon, I ran a 3:07. So it was we were almost on pace with each other, just, so many years apart, similar age, but just different generation, and then training techniques. But I like it because I like to think of his old training logs as he's my coach. So I can sort of plan my training, adjust it drastically to his, 6:20, 18-mile runs on a Saturday morning. And but it's a nice way to look back and see what he did. And he made many comments on running Memorial, and he ran Brace Bayou. So we're all Houstonian. I grew up in Houston. And so a lot has changed, but a lot of the trails haven't. They're all very similar. What they used to be.
Yeah, that's nuts. So obviously he ran Houston a couple times.
He did. That was his pride and joy was Houston. It was the Houston Tenneco Marathon back then.
Yeah. Okay, so it was early 90s?
Yeah. He passed away in 1993. So his last race was 91 until he got sick. So that was his his last hoorah.
I'm trying to think if that's the time my mom ran it. You know, when we go to the expo, they always have like the old shirts.
I have them.
And I remember the one that my mom did had like a big boot on it. Of course, she did it when like she was 50, and I've done all my marathons before 50. So I feel like kind of a slacker. Like, do I need to be running another one when I turn 50? I don't know.
But you get stronger as you get older, but I don't know. Takes a toll.
Mentally stronger, like you could finish, but that's crazy. Okay, all right, so we got a lot in common. This is cool.
That is cool. Yeah, the shirts are cool. The shirts are neat. I do have a lot of his old shirts. My mom, after he passed away, he made his shirts with a blanket, and so it's like I see Woodlands, Pikes Peak, Grand Canyon, like all the shirts are, it's a t-shirt blanket.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of sad because I'd like to wear them, but I can cuddle with them, so that kind of changes it. But,
plus, they're like heavy cotton back then. So.
Yeah, and they're super comfortable though to use the blanket.
Yeah, so that's what I did with my mom's old shirts. She still had them in her closet. I'm like, okay, I'm taking these. I use Project Repat, but there's a lot of places that do them. It's really not quilting, but it's more of just a throw blanket. But yeah, that's I did some with mine as well. I ran too many races.
We think alike, great minds.
I thought you looked familiar. This distant cousin, probably.
Maybe, you never know.
But I mean, you think about this, that he ran it a lot of times. Now you're an ambassador. I mean, that's just got to be like a full circle. Now I see why you kept being persistent as far as, hey, I'm going to keep on letting people know that I'm serious as far as I want to be an ambassador. That's awesome.
I do, yeah. And it's I was a pacer first, and so after the pandemic, I kind of lost. I went, hard and heavy into running. I think a lot of people, you sort of either go one way or the other. I went 1,000 degrees into I'm going to run like 14, 15 mile days. It was so much mental blockage. That was the only way that I was able to just let everything go. I have 3 kids. And so that was like my time at the end of the day. My husband got home. He was considered essential. So he was working the whole time. I was laid off. And so that was those 2 hours between 5 and 7 was my 2 hours to see how many miles I could get in until I felt better and came home. But pacing. So I did lose some fitness, but I was still really comfortable in, the 8-minute mile pace. And when I saw that pacing applications came out in 2022, kind of when life was normal again, mm-hmm. I applied just on a whim. And I thought, well, maybe this is something that I would be interested in. I do remember the first time I ran with a pacer in a half marathon, and I didn't know that pacers even existed. I was still, I wasn't new to the game, but I'd always just kind of run by myself, raced by myself, not like anybody else. So when I found a pacer, he got me in at a sub 1:30.
Wow. And which race was this?
That was a Houston half marathon October.
Okay, yeah, because it's a strider. Okay, yeah.
Yes, mm-hmm. Yes. I was a strider for a little while. And then I was real familiar with that race and like the ins and outs of it. And so that's my favorite half marathon in the fall. And just, it's Allen Parkway and it's Houston. And mm-hmm. So it's just very familiar and fast, and the energy is great, music. But when I got the acceptance letter or invitation rather to be a pacer and got my time slot, she had me, I was able to choose. I got my first choice, which was the 3:30 marathon pacer for Chevron 23. And I put a lot of thought into that time because I remember when I was running, I was really dead set on qualifying for Boston. And 3:30 was, I think 3:35 was the qualifying time, but 3:30 was what I was shooting for. And so I'm thinking, okay, thinking back, this time was like my goal time for that moment. And how cool would it be to be that pacer and possibly, get those other runners to their Boston qualifying time. And we were successful in that. We finished the marathon in 3:29:35. You're given a little bit of wiggle room. Like you're expected to finish between 1 and 2 minutes before your deadline.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Weather and injuries and things like that happen. So it's totally forgivable. But we kept on pace. I had a marathon partner who had done it before. So we had a strategy on it. The only thing about pacing is you're in it for the long haul. Like, you are not only running a marathon, but you're also talking with people the whole time, and you're motivating them. You're reminding them of the water breaks, keeping up with your nutrition, possibly carrying extra goos on you just in case there's drop or somebody needs something. But it's also a lot of math, because you have a certain, mile time that you need to have for each mile. And so some of us keep, the tattoos on our arm, like, okay, mile 1, 8:01, mile 2, 16:02. And so you have to kind of study that and know where you are. Thankfully, my pacer and I were also very familiar with Chevron. And so we knew landmarks to shout out, and we'd tell jokes, which are really hard to think of when you get to like mile 22.
That's what you need the tattoo for.
Gone.
Jokes. Joke tattoo.
Yes. I mean, but and a hard part about pacing is when you get to that mile 20, mile 21, you have to keep going. But a lot of your people that have been with you, that's when they hit that wall. So they drop off, and you're like, but I need you. And you're not, you have to keep going. You have a responsibility to continue on to that finish line. And so that is one of the really tough part about pacing. So, but it's the rewarding, it is so mentally rewarding to, cross that finish line and give the high fives, give the hugs. And you make friends. Like, I made some Instagram friends just by, we were friends for 3.5 hours running the marathon, and they pretty much know everything about you, good and bad, by like mile 3, because you're just so excited and you're pumped, and you've had your whatever you take pre-workout before your marathon. And so at some point they might have been like, please stop talking. But
they'll run in front of you.
Yeah. But no music. I mean, there are some rules, like, it's you and it's, your group of people. And so that was an experience that I'd never had before. It's, not racing, but pacing. And that's kind of applicable to life in general. Is like, not slow and steady, but just maintaining. So maintaining that pace, keeping that pace is what, you have to find your comfort zone. And so with after that, I did sign up to become a part of Beast Pacing, which is another pacing company who travel across the United States, various half marathons and marathons. So I've done a few with them, and I will be pacing Chevron again in January. So I'm super excited about that. I'll be doing the 320 group this year.
Oh my goodness.
So a little bit speedier. I got 3 options, and of course I got, first choice, which was the 320. So we'll see how that goes.
Wow. Yeah, no pressure on 3:30 for Boston qualifying.
I know.
Wait, so that was your first time pacing, was the 3:30?
Yes.
Oh, that's a whole nother level.
It was last year. And what's really cool about the marathon is I told you how my mom would go watch my dad run. Well, Mom has not missed one of mine. She comes to every Chevron marathon. She knows exactly where she's going to see me. They go to mile 4, they go to mile 7, I think 17, and then Allen Parkway. So they catch me on the last 5K. And my husband comes too, and all my kids. They get so excited on race day. Especially
Chevron. It's a party.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we passed by Houston, driving next to Houston, and my middle daughter, Carly, she's like, is that where the marathon is? I'm like, that's where the marathon is, one day a year. And that's where that's what she sees when she sees Houston, is the marathon. And I think that's really cool how they just through their eyes. And I'm glad that they're happy about it, because they could dread it a lot, because they know how much it takes out of their mom to train for something like that.
So in your pacing, you're just doing even splits? Is that your strategy? Okay.
Yeah. So Warren was my other pacer. He and I talked about it like 5 minutes before the race started. We're like, what are we going to do? or we texted a little bit. And I said I was going to start off a little bit fast just to give us some cushion room. And he said, well, why don't we start out like, perfect. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do that too. So of course I go what I was going to do. And I started out at like 7:52. And so I was kind of in the lead of the pack and he was exactly at that 8 minute. And so we had to account for tangent and I guess just, we don't want to lose people, but we don't want to, we want to just stay together. So we're holding up these big signs. They see mine in the front. They see him a little bit further back. Eventually we merge and we finish together. But by not running right next to each other the whole time, it does help because it lets those runners know, if you're in between these two people, you will finish at 3:30. So that was our strategy for it. We kept an even pace. I mean, it was like, I think when I looked at Strava, it was like an even 8 minute, even though it fluctuated a little bit. It went from like 7. I think mile 23 was like 8:10. I had to go to the bathroom really bad, like on the way in. And he's like, well, do you need to stop? And I'm like, no, I'm just going to sweat. Like, I don't know, that might have been TMI. But that's one thing you also can't do is
Yes.
like, if you have to sprint to a bathroom, you have to really have control of your gut. Like you have to, and that's another part of training that with, beginning runners to even elite runners is like training your gut to where you eat the right foods and you take the right supplements during the race to where it's not going to upset your stomach. And so that's another thing that we talk about during those 26 miles together as a team is, what we do to keep our energy up, especially during those last 5 miles.
Yeah. And I mean, it's hard because, GPS, you have to, it's not always perfect.
No, I run ultra marathons as well. So I've
Good
surpassed I go past the marathon distance. I have a 50K next weekend. It's the Habanero 50K.
Troy, North Texas. All right, cool.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so excited for it. It's my second favorite race. I have 3 favorite races. Second one.
Okay, no, wait, explain to people because I know what it is. But how nuts this race is, what time it's, starts at noon in August, kind of explain people how nuts, just in case they didn't think you're crazy enough. Let's do
the Habanero 100 is deemed the hottest race in Texas. It is held usually the second Saturday in August. It's August 12th this year. So I think it's the second Saturday, maybe the third this year, but it is held out at 7IL Ranch. So it's a ranch. You've got ranch atmosphere. I swear to you, they bring in buckets of sand. I don't know where they get this sand, but 80% of the course is like running through this sand. And I don't mean like the nice mud that you see in Galveston. I mean, this is like bulky sand where you're putting, you have to wear specific gear on your feet so that that the sand doesn't get all in your shoes. The start time is at noon. So you start at high noon. They have different race distances. I don't know what the shorter distances are, but I know that what I've run is the 50Ks. I've run one 50K successfully. I've attempted 100K unsuccessfully, and then I will do a 50K this year. But I will say the 50K is my favorite distance to run, which makes the Habanero my favorite ultra marathon. Obviously, Chevron is my first marathon, my first choice.
Do you do any other ultras like the one he does at Brazos Bend or anything else like that? Or you're just like, I like sand and heat and August.
I've done the Brazos Bend. That was my first 50 miler.
Okay,
so I ran that one in 2019. It was actually it was in between the time when I qualified for local elite in Houston in November at a 25K. Ran the Brazos Bend 50 miler in December because I was looking at it as like a training race. I don't know why I trained for a 50 miler, training for a marathon, but finished that one actually. And I don't know how I did it. I came in first. First female.
Still,
I was chasing the boys. I think I was 6th, but so ran that one. That was my first ultra marathon, but that was more of like, I'm just going to try this. And
just going to try 50
I'm
miles.
just going to try and see if I can run it. And so in those kind of races, you meet a lot of people that just, they're so fun. I mean, it's like a party on the trails.
Yeah, it's another breed.
It is. And that's why I kind of go back and forth to trails and roads. Cause I'm like, well, I really love them both because it's the community and it's the support of each different style that is attractive. And so I like both of it, or both of them. And so the trails seem to be more friendly on my feet and on my legs. I can't go nearly as fast on the trails, but
of course not. Yeah.
It's okay to slow down a little.
Yeah, no energy return. So you did the December Brazos Bend?
Yeah.
I was there. I didn't do 50.
So you must run a lot of races too then.
Geez. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done over 100. I never really looked at. I know I've done over 40 halves. I know that, and whatever 7 fulls. But yeah, that's crazy. We even camped out and everything. It got really cold and they got really hot right in the middle of the race.
Yeah.
Like, wait a sec, one or the other.
That's Houston. You never know what you're gonna. What is that like, Forrest Gump? Yeah, you never know what you're gonna
You are in the Houston running zone. We've got the runs.
So, Beast, have you ever done the Galveston half or full in February?
Yes. So I paced the Galveston. Well, I paced the full, but it was split. So another pacer and I split it up into 2 half marathons. Very windy. I'd run it before, and I remember the wind. I mean, it was like enough wind to make you cry. So he ran the first half. I ran the second half. Our goal was 3:20, and we came in collectively at 3:18. So excellent. It was right on point, and it was fun. That was the second pacing I did. And then I paced the Woodlands Marathon back in March.
Nice.
And then 2 other Beast pacing events this past summer, the Houston Hometown Marathon. And then I drove up the next day to do the Dallas Hometown Marathon. Yeah. And then nothing else until December. So there's a lot of, opportunities, but they're all over the United States. And as much as I'd love to sign up for all of them, I just can't. I can't go to all of them. I see the email.
Yeah. Galveston's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah. I love running there.
Yeah. I think I paced that one 4 or 5 times. I love that. It's just very laid back. Once you cross that bridge, you're like, I'm in another laid back world. It's awesome.
And the sun just beating on your skin. I just love it. I have a weird obsession with the sunlight. Like the summer months are just like, that's my dream. The winter is not. I'm not very good friends with cold weather, so thankfully we only get like a couple of months of it. I'm not, it's not the greatest, but these summer months, man, I tell you, these 103-day runs are great. I love them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Are you like your dad as far as you've kept journals, or as far as you keep track of like your race times or the amount of races, anything else like that? Any OCD-ness on that part?
Very much so. So I have, I keep binders of all of my bibs, all of my old bibs from first to last. In those binders, I have the bib, I have the name of the race, the time, if I placed, a memory from that race, just anything, something that stuck out to me, or a person I met, or if I fell, I've fallen a lot. And when I retire my shoes, I actually cut up the shoelaces and I put that on the page. So it's a lot. I know it's a lot of work. I'm like probably 2 years behind on my on keeping track of it. But I'm really weird about saving things like that. Like I'll save cards from when I was 1 year old, and a nostalgic mind is what I have. But I do that. I also have this thing where when I'm racing, I put somebody's face on my bib. So somebody that I'm running kind of who inspired me that week or that month, or somebody that I missed. Or like, for example, when my grandfather passed away in 2019, I put his face on my bib and I'm like, I'm going to run this with you because, I miss you. And can't tell you how many times I put my dad on my bib, but even like my dog, if I lost a dog that year. I'll put my dog's face on their bib. So it just, I don't know, having, of course, my kids too, they get their faces on bibs too. And so they inspire me every day, and my husband, but I don't know. It's just something that I do. It could be a little bit strange, but it helps me, get in the mentality of who motivated me that week, who said something nice to me.
No,
there is good in every day, and so you have to look for it. Not every day's good, but there's good in every day.
Well, it's all emotional attachment. Like, so, okay, some people keep the whole shoe, but yeah, keeping the shoelaces, and faces. When you say faces, are you like printing out a photo?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, like, I'll literally print out like a wallet-sized picture. Now, the trot bibs are like this big; they're tiny, and so I have a hard time attaching. So sometimes I just don't. But as far as regular bibs, I'll just print out like a picture on just regular printer paper, not like actual photo, and just tape it. And it's neat because when I'm finished with a race, I'm usually very dirty and very gross. But and the picture is real nasty with the bib too. So it's almost like we went through this adventure together. We both got muddy and dirty, and it's just cool. Regular printer paper is what I use for work. Because they have a color printer and I don't, so I just use paper.
Wherever your office is, just use that one. Yeah, it's fine.
Like, what do my kids need to print out today?
No, that's neat, because I think so many people, they get caught up in drama of whatever they're doing, whether it's news or social media, and then if you're always doing that, like, no matter what, you have those hours or days where you're just like, distractions gone, or stresses in the day, or just family stress, work stress, any stress, drama stress, whatever. And you do that, that's something everybody could do. Everybody could find a printer. Easy. Yeah.
And it's just a lot of the running has it's if any takeaway that if anybody when people talk to me for any takeaway, I've gone through more struggles with it than that would be like 2 days worth of conversation. But lots of times where I wanted to just give up, and not just like in general with running, but just like life was really hard for a long time. And so I was in a car accident. I was diagnosed with skin cancer, injuries, pandemic. And we, had a third child in the mix of all of that. So it was like, there was a lot that went on within like a very short amount of time. And so like, I looked at my husband, and, there are some moments where you just can't forget, and you're like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, well, what did I tell you the first time you got on that treadmill? I was like, I don't remember. And he's like, try again tomorrow. He's like, when life throws you these things, you have to fight back and just try again tomorrow. So that's what I try to, when somebody's venting about a bad day or a bad run or a stressful argument with whoever, I'm like, well, you gave it all you had today. And so I think back to what my husband told me. Just know that, just think about it. What is that? Who says it? Scarlett O'Hara? We'll worry about that tomorrow. And so to just keep trying, and then to not give up, because everybody has their own struggles and their own issues and setbacks, and so mine are probably very minor compared to a lot of people. But just you gotta know that your future is really what you make of it. You're throwing these obstacles, but it's kind of how you address them and how you react that can either make or break.
And first of all, thanks for sharing that, because everybody goes through something. Most people, they never see it. Like if you look at some people's Instagram is probably the worst, because people only share the good stuff. Most people only share the good stuff, and you're like, oh, everything looks perfect. And then you realize, no, everybody has the same, something's going on, or there's some sort of struggle or, something that they've gotten over, or are still in the process of getting over it.
Right.
That's really cool. And I mean, you didn't even really mention it, except for you used to go from 5 to 7 in the morning or 5 to 7 at night. I wasn't sure if it was AM or PM, but as far as running, like, how are you balancing all this with, I have one child, I have three. How's this working out? Like, are you like scheduling things in, or?
During the pandemic, my kids and I did this really cool thing. Those 30 days where the whole world was shut down, we spent the first half of the day during schoolwork. Of course, they were learning online. We spent the second half of the day, we called it our Timme World Tour. We would spin a globe, we'd close our eyes and point on it. And whatever country our finger landed on was the country of the day. So we Googled and we researched that country, and we would either make dishes, like do a curbside pickup if we didn't have some, I don't even know what, from some European country, whatever recipe ingredient, or we would do a dance, or we'd learn the language, or what did we do? Like one time we got the North Pole. So you know what we did? We watched Christmas movies and we listened to Christmas music and we made snow cones, just because we didn't know what they ate at the North Pole. But that's what we did. And then towards the end of the day, I was done. I was spent. I was exhausted. So I would watch out the window like Gladys Kravitz. I don't know if you know that reference, but I would be watching out my window for my husband to pull in because he got home at it was like 5:07, and I was in my running gear ready to go. And I would meet him in the driveway. He would pull in and I was out the door. And so during that time, that was how I scheduled it. Now it's a little bit more difficult because I work full time, 7 to 5 every day. And so a lot of times I will bring my daughter with me. She actually runs a little bit too, 5K, 10Ks. So she'll be my little training partner. My son will ride his bike. My daughter will text me motivation from her room. She's in middle school and she doesn't want to run with me. So she'll send me like words of affirmation, like, go, mommy, I'm not going to come with you, but I love you. And so we try to keep, what I want is to, at least set that example for the kids and let them know, I kind of want them to see, I guess, what I didn't get to. Maybe that's where it all comes down to, is that as a kid, I was exposed to this, life of a parent who was on a training schedule. And he did, he set a foundation, not knowing it. But the idea was, what is it? It's like the egg, it was planted. The idea was planted.
Yes.
Way in the back, but it was there. And so I just, I want my kids to know that my mental health and physical health is vital. And eventually they will learn that if we're doing something and a run is just not in their cards, I'm not gonna sit and cry about it, because like priority is things you can't control, like work and meetings, and then second is family. So I mean that's always going to come right up there at the top. Mm-hmm. And then running does it comes later, and it is difficult to manage sometimes. You should see the schedule that I try to have, but I try to do like an hour a day, in between bath and bedtime. So it's like I get them all comfortable on the couch. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sneak out the door. They won't even know I'm gone. And then just, get it in and then come back and then go on with the night.
All right.
So
wow.
It's I know it, but it's hard to explain it.
No, it makes sense to me, but I can see it. So. It's crazy. Obviously, nobody wants a shutdown or anything else like that. But you ever thought about like just doing that for like a week on Christmas week, like doing the spin the globe thing, or are your kids too cool for that now?
They still talk about it.
Nice.
So, they still talk about it. We have a hashtag, actually. It's hashtag Timme World Tour. So it was 30 days, and we ended the 30 days back in Texas. And this was covering Easter. I mean, it was, all those days that were shut down. But we went to California last December for the CIM, for California International Marathon. And we flew, but they were like, this is like a Timme World Tour, except we're actually going somewhere. And then we went to New Orleans. And so I I think they actually had more fun imagining it than actually going, and seeing it in person. But it was such a huge bonding time for us that we just, you can't get that. You'll never get it back. You'll never get that time back with your family. And everything was just shut down. And I think that it really changed a lot of perspective around the world. And just that for our family, it was something that we desperately needed. And I look back on that and I'm like, man, those were as bad as things were in our world. Were one of the best times that we've ever had. Best time of our life was when it was just us. And, I think about it a lot. And I'm sure they do too. Because then it's like all of a sudden school starts again and work starts again. And you're back to this life, after it was like a tease being home. But we haven't done it on the globe. They actually broke the globe. They cracked it in half and then they wore it around on their heads like 6 months after. And I'm like, what? Or no, they wore it around their heads and then they went like they went like this, like they were doing some kind of weird dance. And I did snap a picture of it, but I was like, well, there's the Timme World Tour. It's officially over. She snapped.
Well, you see, I have a globe behind me.
I know yours is a really nice globe. Ours was like a paper mache globe,
like the old school, like school ones where it's like the water's blue. And got the...
Yes. And some of the countries we didn't even. And I will tell you, we found out that every country has a flag, like the teeniest, tiniest country. And if you even Google it on your emojis, a lot of that, the flag will just come up.
Yeah, even if it's a Commonwealth. Yeah, it's crazy.
They found it was really neat. They're like, this little country has its own flag. I'm like, yes, it's a country. It has a flag. It's like how you have a name. Everything has something. Yeah.
They could be using, England's currency and a different language, but everybody has a. Yeah, that's really cool.
We had a lot of fun. We really did. And then of course, Mommy got her runs in, and so Mommy was happy after that. The stress just sort of melted away. It's like when somebody is a monster and then they go eat a Snickers bar and all of a sudden it's like all is well. Like, come on, I just needed a run.
Yeah, we weren't that creative. But me and my daughter did a mile for, I think, like 200 days. I don't even know. Like, see, I don't even know my PRs. Like, that's certain things that I just don't, done.
Oh.
Yeah. But, and it was my wife who got me into running. She's like, no, that's y'all's time. Because, daddy daughter thing, some of that stuff doesn't quite, it's not the same. And plus you got peace and quiet from us for at least a mile.
No, I wouldn't complain. Y'all can have it. Have the time.
Think about it, 20 or 30 years and they'll think, oh, I remember that time in 2020 that my mom made us do this and we loved it. And they're going to do that with their kids. Just kind of like your dad got you love of running. That's going to be magical when that happens.
I hope that they think that. We really did. It was like genuine happiness. How you go through the day and you put a smile on your face and you just kind of go through the motion. This was like we were all in, just one with each other. And it wasn't overwhelming because you knew that tomorrow was going to be the same thing. And the next day was going to be the same thing. So my mom always told me, when I'm stressed out or if I'm, complaining about the kids screaming, and she's like, Casey, you can either fight it or you can just get into it and just, kind of let go and get into that because that is your life. This is your beautiful life and it's what you make of it. And she has such good advice. I love my mom. She's my best friend. And, anyway, but, during those times, I do hope that they, try to do something like that with their kids. Hopefully not in the same situation, but just try to make those little memories because those are the ones that really stick with you. I have very, very small memories of my dad because I was so young, but I do have 3 or 4 that really stuck out to me.
Yeah, I do have to ask, when you were out running at 5:07 in March or April of 2020, etc. Did you find that you saw people that you never seen run or walk before? Like, did that happen to you? Like, randos, you're like, I don't know I've never seen this person because there's so many people outside, or maybe not at 5 o'clock, but
Actually, now that you mention it, yes. So I live in Kingwood, and so lots of trails, and so you don't see very many people very often unless you do, but most people run in the mornings. I'm not a morning person. I can't get up into those hours. So when I actually met this girl, and she introduced me to a Facebook group called Moms Run This Town. And they, I can't remember if they started right before the pandemic or during the pandemic. I should know this because I was like an admin for it. So I should know that. But I did notice a lot more of the moms at Kingwood using that as their stress relief. Now, we wouldn't pass each other in person, but I'd see it on social media. So it's kind of like the same thing, sort of, because we're moms and we can't ever get together at the same time unless it's like every 5 years, it seems like. But it was encouraging, and it was moms, whether it's like 1 mile, 2 miles, 10 miles, we're all encouraging each other from afar. One thing I did notice, though, is I saw people running with masks on. And, that made me really sad.
Yeah.
I understand it, but it did, because it's like, it's the air that we breathe. It's what's making people sick. And so I understand wearing the mask, and I applaud them for that. But it was hard for me to see, because I'm thinking a year back, we were doing whatever we wanted to do, breathing whatever air we wanted. And, if a runner got next to me and he had he would fold his mask. And I completely understood. And I wasn't, it made me mad. I didn't think anything really of it. It was just normal. But those were like little tiny things that happened that would really bug me. And not in an angry way, but just, can life just get back to normal already?
Yeah, in a situation way. I know what you mean.
But yeah, but by meeting these ladies, we're still friends. Like, we still have the group on Facebook, and it's cool to see what they've accomplished, because a lot of them they hadn't run before. So it does answer your question. Yeah, like I did see a lot more activity being outside. A lot of people were, I wouldn't say afraid to go outside, but a little more hesitant. Mm-hmm. And so but I tell everybody, you have to go outside. It's like, my love language is being outside.
There's something to it. Even if, like, when I work, even though I work at home, I got to go outside before I start my day. At least look at the blue into the sky. There's something to it. Must be just
feel that humid air, get the hair nice and fluffy. And I put my window.
Spritzer.
Yeah, it's always open. Like, I always keep my window open. I have this heater blowing in my face right now. It's cold in my office, but the window, I like the light. My lights are on in the office, but yeah, sometimes I do natural light everywhere.
Well, I definitely have to back on. I just realized time has been flying, but you said,
yeah, I just noticed that too.
Yeah, like, wait a second. I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but thank you so much for all the good stuff. And yeah, definitely have you back on, especially after the marathon. See how it went for you. Your 3:20 pacing group. Wow, what an experience!
I'm actually doing it with a friend, so he paced last year, but we're going to do this one together. And so, yeah, I'm excited. So, but this was so cool. Thank you so much for having me. I feel like we covered so much, and golly, it was like, just thinking of everything. And, it just brings a smile to my face. I could talk about running with people all the time. My work people get so sick of it. Like,
well, that's the good part. It's like, you get to annoy people with information they don't want to hear. Like, that's life's joy. That's like, how it is. That's what you do a kid. Let me tell you back in my day. But before I let you go, I do have 3 more questions for the lightning round. Casey, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Question number 1. Could be a shoe, could be a water bottle, could be a hat. What's your must-have race gear? One thing you love.
Oh gosh. Earrings.
Oh, okay.
I like to wear earrings. I don't know what it is, but I have a certain pair of earrings. I don't know if they're like my lucky earrings or what they are, but they are the only earrings I only wear them on race day.
Okay.
And so I wouldn't call myself like a girly girl, but I have to have them on. So
Okay.
You ever had that answer?
No, so there's one pair that you've been wearing for how many years?
I mean, I wash them.
Well, I mean, as far as like when did it become like your go-to thing?
Probably. In fact, I first wore them when I ran Boston.
There you go.
So yeah, so I started. That was in 2019. It was 3 months. I had my son in January, and then I ran Boston. I think my husband got me the earrings after I had my son, and then I wore them in Boston a few months later for the first time. So now I have to wear them. That's like cool. I keep them in my center console in my car so that I don't forget them.
It's just a case of a race emergency.
I don't know. They're there, but so that's that.
All right, question number 2. You've done a lot of races. What's race that's on your bucket list? What's your dream race? Or if there's one, make up one.
Oh gosh. A bucket list race. I want to run London. I know it's a part of one of the majors. I would love to. I want to run London. I also, if it comes to like trail races, ultra marathons, Leadville.
Whoa.
I know that's
okay.
I was signed up for the Barkley Fall Classic back in 2021, but ended up with a really bad bout of COVID, so had to forfeit that. But after reading some other friends who went through it, I changed to a different bucket list.
A little different there.
But London would be my first bucket list marathon if I could just go and do it. So, and I would take my husband. He would be very upset if I didn't take him.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll bring the London Gooders back. I don't know if you run with Gooders or even just to have them because they're like super cool.
Yeah, I have some of them. Are you talking about the sunglasses?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the most recent ones I got were whiskey shots with Satan. Okay. So when my husband asked what I did on my lunch break that day, I showed him the sunglasses. I'm like, well, I got whiskey shots with Satan, and he's like, oh, okay. Nice lunch break.
About time.
I'm like, they're really nice too.
Those are the black frame ones, right?
Yeah, with like the orange kind of.
Yeah, we can nerd out on this. Yeah, I love Gooders.
Yeah, me too. There's that Fleet Feet across the street in Ambassadors. We get some perks at Fleet Feet.
Cool.
So yeah, I wish it was. It's not very far. I could throw a rock and hit the store from where I work. So it's very tempting every time I go on lunch.
Oh, cool. All right, and last question. I know, obviously, doing 3:20 pacing, you got to watch what you eat. But hey, we all got to live a little. Could be after race. Could be, hey, I got to do this. What's your culinary guilty pleasure?
Cheeseburgers, and I don't mean just any cheeseburger.
Here it comes.
So my favorite burger is actually I have two favorites. One of them is Bill's Cafe in Kingwood. It is so good. Like you can eat outside. It's just the best burger. My husband introduced it to me. He's a foodie, so he introduced it to me probably 15 years ago, and amazing. But another place that I really like is the Burger Joint, and I think it's off Westheimer, next to a taco place. But that is whenever I'm downtown and I'm like hungry, like because I want to go. If I'm gonna go, I want to eat the whole thing. I don't want to just go and eat half of it because it's like it's an experience more than a burger. It's so good. And so the Burger Joint. But yeah, cheeseburgers are my very, very guilty pleasure. They're so good.
Are you keeping with the other salady stuff with it, or are you just going straight up, or?
I try to get it like as much as I can. Not a huge fan of like barbecue sauce on it. I love barbecue, but not barbecue sauce on a burger. But yeah. I tried like lettuce, tomato, onions, pickles. I mean, it's like bad breath central, like when you're on a date. Like, I'm apologizing to my husband immediately. So I'm like, I'm going to get extra onions.
Yeah, can't y'all like pickle the white onion? Because white onion, like, it's just smack in the face.
Yeah. And then you got to get the fries to go with it and a Coke.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah. Simple, but yeah, delicious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There you go. I'm ready. I'm hungry now. So I should have done this at lunchtime, but either case, Thank you so much. Make sure to swing by the pacing booth, or if you see her out and about at the expo on.
I want to say it's on January. Oh my, we are so bad. Look at us. Okay, so the marathon's on the 14th, so January 12th and 13th.
There we go.
Yeah. So now we both know. All right.
Sounds good. And thanks again for giving back, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes. Thank you so much.
As always, if you want to become the first to find out about upcoming weekly episodes, simply hit the plus, follow, subscribe button. Depends on your podcast platform. And if you're on a podcast app where you can leave a rating and review, we always love it. Hey, give us 5 stars if you like it. And if you don't like it, give us 5 stars anyways. You made it through the whole episode. But more importantly, looking forward to sharing another episode next week.
Thanks for visiting the Houston Running Zone. If you know someone you'd like to be featured in the zone, go to thehoustonrunningzone.com and send us a message. Until next week, always remember, Houston, we've got the runs.